Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new episode. Now the sun is shining, I cannot quite believe it, it's so warm and it feels like spring for the first time in a very long time. But today I'm doing a very important job and I'm finally going to plant out my potatoes. What a glorious day it is. Like, I cannot believe how warm it is. It's the 6th of April now and this is the first time this year that it's actually felt like spring. Like, it's warm enough to not wear a coat, which just feels so good. And it means obviously you can get on with more jobs at the allotment. So today my main job is to plant out my potatoes. Now this is a job that I usually like to do on Good Friday, which obviously varies every year. This year it was a little bit earlier, at the end of March, so I'm not really late in the sense I've just broken my tradition, but these have been happily chitting away on top of the fridge at home since the middle of February now, so a good couple of months, and they've got these really lovely healthy chits on them, nice dark purple colour. So they are ready to go out. Now I always chip my potatoes. It's something you don't have to do. It will just give them a little bit of a head start once you plant them, because obviously once they're in the ground they will start to sprout anyway. This just tends to give them a little bit of a head start. But like I said, it's something that I've always done, something my dad's always done, so I just tend to do it every year. Right, I get on to the variety. Now these I grow every single year. I've grown them from the very first time I had my allotment, which was nearly 5 years ago now, and they are called International Kidney, otherwise known as Jersey Royals, but because we're not in Jersey, we're in Hampshire, we can't call them Jersey Royals, so we'll call them by their true name, which is International Kidney. They are an early salad variety. I'm growing just the salad, just one variety here, and my dad will be growing the second early and the main crop potatoes because he has a lot more room. So my potato bed is about 2.5 metres by 3 metres, so it's not very big. I can fit in 4 rows of potatoes and there's usually about 9 potatoes to each row. Now like I said, these are salad varieties, so you can plant them a little bit closer than you would your main crop because you want the crop to be smaller, whereas your main crop potatoes, you might want your harvests to be bigger potatoes. So yeah, I like to plant them a little bit closer because I love the little baby salad potatoes, and nothing beats growing your own potatoes, especially when it's a really nice hot summer's day and you're having a barbecue with friends and family, and you can serve up your salad potatoes with lashings of butter and lots of mint, and it's just the best taste. Like, I'm just drooling thinking about it now. I cannot wait. So I will show you all how I plant up my potatoes. I think I've done it before in all the previous years, but I'll show you all again just for you new followers, and just to refresh you really, because it is potato planting season now. So I'm going to get the ground ready and plant these babies up. actually had to take my jacket off because it's so nice and warm, and there's a little bit of breeze now, which is just perfect. It's like the ideal spring day. Anyway, I'll go through how I plant out my potatoes. Now, I like to dig a trench. I've always done it that way and it's always worked for me. The only other way you can plant out your potatoes is using a dibber to dib a hole where each potato is going, or use a trowel in a similar fashion. So you're only really, making a hole and dropping your potatoes in. But I always do a trench, so that's just the way that I always do it. And I also use this tool here. Now, I think some of you have asked about it in previous videos as well, because I always mention it. It's called a Chillington hoe, and it has a nice point to it, which is perfect for digging trenches, and also for earthing up potatoes. It's actually my dad's tool, but I borrow it like every single year when I plant up my potatoes and when I earth them up, so I really should get my own one. But it just makes such light work of digging trenches. Like, you can do them like in an instant, so it's a really good tool to have. And like I said, you can use it when you need to earth up your potatoes as well. So yeah, I've dug the first trench. Now that's about 6 inches deep. I've laid a little layer of well-rotted manure in the bottom of the trench, and then I've spaced my potatoes roughly about 1 foot apart. So there's 9 potatoes in that row. I'll also just quickly mention that when you plant your potatoes, plant them with your chit or your shoot facing upwards. If you don't chit your potatoes, then look for the small eye where the chits and sprouts will emerge from, and just plant them facing up. So yeah, 6 inches deep trench, potatoes 12 inches apart, and then each row needs to be about 2 foot apart. So I'll be able to fit the 4 rows of potatoes in this bed. Last thing to do is to cover the row back up and then get on with the other 3 rows. But like I said, it doesn't take much work with a good Chillington hoe. So I'm going to cover that up with my rake and then get cracking with the other 3 beds. So that's all done. The potatoes are in, and that's 1 out of the 3 of my vegetable beds that are finished with. Like, I don't need to worry about the potatoes now until they start to emerge. And then what I'll do is I'll earth them up just to protect them from any frosts, because our last frost date in the UK is around the end of May. So if your potatoes start to show their shoots before then, earth them up and the soil will protect them from any frosts. But what I'll do is I'll also earth them up about 2 or 3 times before they're harvested, just to multiply the harvest, really, just to get a bigger crop from their potatoes. But I'm so excited. I'm just so happy they're in. I mean, just look at the weather. It was hot enough to take my coat and my cardigan off. It was that warm. So it's been a glorious day. And I couldn't have asked for much better weather, but hopefully the potatoes will grow now, and they'll be happy, and we'll have a big harvest around July time. So yeah, potatoes are in. It's around 6 o'clock now, so I'll probably start thinking about packing up. But the only other job I wanted to do was plant out these ranunculus. Now, if you remember, I planted my ranunculus bulbs out in the trough back in November, December time. And I had some spare bulbs left, so I potted them up and put them in the greenhouse. And as you can see, they grew really, really well. They are miles ahead of the ones in the trough, obviously because they had the extra protection of the greenhouse to grow in. But what's happened is some of the ranunculus, they haven't come up in the trough, which is what I thought might happen because I've never grown them before. I planted up these ones as backup. So I'm going to basically fill in the gaps in the trough. I'm really excited to see these grow. I've never grown ranunculus before, but they're so, so beautiful. And these ones are so very near. There's a bud on them. So I'm going to plant them out today. And also my little lavender plant, which I bought at not Harrogate, Hampton Court, that's it, Flower Show last year. It's actually a pale pink lavender called Little Lottie. I thought it was quite apt for the allotment. Anyway, it's been sitting in the cold frame since last summer. But I thought it was about time to go up. And because I need to dig out around the flower border anyway, I thought I'll plant this up now, because I want a little miniature lavender hedge going into my flower patch. So I'm going to put that in the ground now. It's only been, nearly a year since I bought it. So yeah, just a few little jobs, and then I'll head home because I'm starting to be getting a bit hungry now after all that digging and all that hard work, which I'm not complaining about. I really missed it. So anyway, I hope you've found that video interesting, and I hope you get some time to plant your potatoes out soon. Also, I hope the weather is nice where you are this weekend. I know we've got rain forecast for Sunday, which is a bit rubbish. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I will see you all next time.